if I was going to die, what are things I wanted to do before I died? So it was simple, like taste pasta in Italy, swim in the Great Barrier Reef, climb a mountain, like things that I wanted to do, right? Like see St. Pete's Cathedral. I don't know, like their list is long.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to my show. I'm so excited to have you here today. My name is Tiffany Alexander, and this is Unveiling Journeys. As you know, or if you don't know yet, I am obsessed with meeting new people. I love masterminds, I love networking, and that is usually how I get to meet some of the most incredible people I've ever met in my life. And the journey in the last year of my life is deciding I can no longer contain who these people are. I must share them. I must be an extra megaphone so that you can reap the reward of having the benefit of them being in my life and now they get to be in your life. With that, I'm so excited. Exactly how I told you, I met Jen in a mastermind and she gets to hang out with us and unveil her journey today. So thank you so much, Jen, for coming and being on the podcast. I'm so excited to share your story. Tell us about who you are and what you're doing right now.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks for having me. Such an honor. My name is Jen Drummond. I am a speaker right now. That's probably what I'm doing the most is getting out on stages, sharing my story, working with organizations on their leadership teams. I'm doing some private coaching at a leadership level or trying to upgrade someone's life from where they are to where they want to be. And yeah, that's kind of the excitement of my life right now.
Man, that's awesome. When you say upgrade someone's life, is there like a point where someone decides that? Or is that like where and how do they find you to be able to say, oh my gosh, I need you to help me upgrade my life?
Yeah, I think I get most of my clients from LinkedIn, to be honest. Yeah, it's my favorite platform just because it's real content that everybody's sharing. And it will be someone has gone through a divorce or they're now an empty nester or they're working at a company and they want to get to the next level of leadership and are wondering what that looks like. So I typically, it's that identity shift. Someone's doing an identity shift. And since I did a huge identity shift, I can help people through that part of their lives.
Oh man, that's incredible. And that is a really important thing because there are moments that people reach in their life like, gosh, where am I at? What do I do next? And you could be that very next launching point or the clarity finder for them to be able to set off on like their next big purpose in their journey. But how did this all start? Like, where are you from? Tell me from the beginning.
Yeah. So I grew up in Holland, Michigan. We have this cute little festival called Tulip Time. It's a very quaint community. I'm the oldest of three siblings. I've always been an athlete and a curious personality. I was an exchange student in high school, played sports through college, like all the things.
All the things. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Then it's like, did you know that you had this like leadership quality about you as a kid going into high school? And then did you go to college?
I did. So I did. I mean, I was the soccer, like I was our team captain and then I was a class president. So I kind of had the leadership bug in me for sure. I went to college to play soccer and then decided I didn't want to have a profession in soccer. So I transferred to a different school, went originally to become a doctor because I wanted to help people. And I figured like if they were healthy, that was like a good thing to help with. However, my chemistry teacher pulled me aside. He's like, Jen, do you know anybody in this classroom? I'm like, yeah, no, not really. He's like, do you want to know why? Like, yeah, he's like, they're at the library. Do you know where a library is on campus? I'm like, yes, I know where the library is on campus. But no, he just brought up a good point that maybe the next 8 years of my life wouldn't be best used to do what I was pursuing. And at first, of course, I was like, F you, I'm going to do this. And then I realized, well, maybe he has a point. So I went and talked to my business law teacher, and my business law teacher was like, yes, you have a business personality. Not saying you can't be a doctor, but I definitely see you in business. And so then I started pursuing business type courses, and a friend of mine graduated, took a job at a company, loved it. And then I ended up working at that company the same year.
Oh my goodness. I love that shift. I feel like I had the same shift where it was like, I'm in a class with 32 engineers. They're all men. And I am like walking up and down the hallways in the dorms, like, hey, you want to be my friend? And they're like, what are you doing here? Just to have that shift of like, maybe these people want this harder than I do because I'm not at the library either, right?
I know, I just wasn't. I'm like, listen, I like, yeah. I mean, he made a great point. He's like, the next 8 years of your life are going to be with these kind of people that their favorite thing to do is study. And I'm like, you're right. That's not my favorite thing to do. Okay. What else can I do with my life? And I just knew that I wanted to be successful which at that time meant financially successful because that's the only version I knew. Because when growing up, like the only thing my parents fought about was money. So
Mm,
for some reason, I thought like, well, if I have money, I'm not going to fight. But like you're a kid and you equate things that don't quite work out. Yeah, no, I just remember like doctors make good money, then I won't have any financial problems, and then I won't have problems. Problems manifest in all different ways, but there you go.
exactly. Now, leaving that first degree path, going to the next one, and then you said you went straight into a job. What was that like?
Yeah. So, like, man, this is a learning experience. I took a job as a financial advisor. The company that I interviewed with, I had never interviewed with other companies. I didn't know anything. I didn't even know you're supposed to ask questions back. Like, I had no idea. I just knew that you went to college to get a job. So the fact that I was being offered a job, like I should take it. And I like had a year left of school. And the school was like, well, do you think you could graduate early? This job was. I'm like, oh, I don't know. So I went to the school and I'm like, hey, can I graduate early? Like, well, if you take some summer terms and things like that, then you'll be done by like August. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm going to do that. And then I like called my parents. I'm like, hey, I got this job. I'm going to be a financial advisor. I'm graduating a year early from college and I get to start in August. And my parents were not thrilled. Like, no, I think you should like do your final year of school and just like really interview companies and find out exactly what you want to do and da 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 da. I'm like, we go to college to get a job. I have a job. Like, I'm taking this job. This is
Yeah.
amazing. So, anyways, so I graduate from college. I take this job. I go in my first day. I show up early, of course. And this lady's like showing me around the office. She's like, here's the kitchen. Here's like office suites. Here's the call center, blah, 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 blah. And then she brings me back to the call center. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I probably have one of those offices out there because I'm a financial advisor. I'm not call center. And she's like, sweetheart, how do you think the financial advisor gets their clients? You have to call. I was like, oh. So this like first week on this job, I am cold calling 5 hours a day, go home every night sobbing because I've never heard the word no so many times in my life. I couldn't believe this was the job, blah, 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 blah. I'm not allowed to call my parents because the promise I made to my parents is like, I'll graduate early and yes, I'll stay at this job for a year. Of course, I'm, like I was thinking I was staying there for life, right? And then I'm like, okay, well, I can't call my parents. So I called the college that I went to. I'm like, hey, I graduated. I was kidding. Like, can you get me back in? And like, no, we can't get you back in. You graduated. Like, semester's already started. You can like maybe look at semester entrance again, but like you're done. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I literally went to Staples and bought a calendar and circled like 365 days later. So I'm like, I just have to get through it. I just have to grin and bear it. And then in a year, I can go look at something else. But this is what I signed up for and this is what I'm doing. And then
I love the
actually,
commitment already for you that you like were willing so much to stand by your word. That's incredible because a lot of
well, because
kids
my
don't
parents
have
would beat my butt. Like that was worse than like it was more important for me to prove them wrong than to me to suffer for an entire year. And like the funny thing is like the nice thing is too, is like once you commit, right? You're committed. Now I'm not spending energy on how to get out of this thing like I originally was. Now I got to spend energy on how to make it tolerable,
that.
maybe even fun, because I'm going to be here for a year. And so I bought back in the day, they used to have these like sponge balls that connected to like this little gun by a string. So if you shot the sponge ball, it would shoot out, but you could like pull it back with the string. And so I bought those and I would sit on the phone when someone hang up with me, I'd shoot them. And then I'd load my gun again and call the next person. And it like, I mean, it worked. It got out that emotion of frustration and like,
Yeah.
fine, I'm hanging up on you too. And then I dial again.
That is so fun to give some sort of little, you have to, like in a mundane thing where you're calling, wanting to lose your eyeballs by crying at the end of every night. Did you make it to the end of the 365 days? What did that, like, there had to be some points in there like, oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
don't.
So here's what happens. Like you land your first client because it's a numbers game, right? Like it truly is a numbers game. So you land your first client and you get paid real money. Cause I was on another thing I didn't ask about was like commissions and draws and paychecks. Like I wasn't salaried. I'm like, oh my gosh. Anyways, things you learn. And I like got this paycheck and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. Like what? Like when I got paid. So then you're like super motivated. I ended up ending my first year in this career making more money than my parents did combined.
No way.
Yeah, not that my parents made any substantial amount of money, but in like what you're used to or what you know, like to me, I was like, what? know. It was amazing. So I ended up staying there for 3 years. And then I figured out the mousetrap and I started to open up my own shop.
There you go. That's where it started. We're like, wait a minute, the guys at the top are doing this. I could do that, right?
Yeah. I'm like, you guys are taking a lot for what you're doing.
Right.
And then I'm like, and now I have enough confidence that I can do this myself. Like, that's the beauty of cold calling. You built your book of business by yourself under the like umbrella of somebody else. Then you get a few years of experience. I'm like, okay, the amount I'm paying you for your name, I'll do this myself.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. So leaving there, you open your own shop up. What happens next?
Okay. So then I have this idea of what it's going to look like, right? We all have these ideas of what things are going to look like. Rarely do they look like those things. And I'm like, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to rent this building. And then someday I'm going to buy this building. I'm going to have my name on the corner of like the outside when you drive down the street, da 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 da. And so I'm spending all this money on like plants and office and all the things. And then I forget that how you make money is like meeting with clients, not buying plants for your office. And so I have a wake up call that I need to get back on the phones and make this thing happen. And then ironically, a client of mine was the CEO of a credit union. And their credit union was going to start offering investment services because before the laws didn't allow them to get into that arena. I'm like, well, I can do that. If I meet with you, I can meet with your credit union members. And she's like, oh, yeah, you could. Why don't you come in for an interview with my board? So I interviewed with her board. I got that contract. And so now my office was in the credit union and we did a revenue sharing agreement, right? So they got a cut, I got a cut, but I didn't have to cold call anymore because now all the tellers and everybody would send me clients, right? And then I found out like, this is amazing. I don't have office overhead. I don't have this. I don't have that. Like it was like this dream come true. And her second in charge was like, hey, you know, a lot of credit unions are going to be getting into this.
Yeah.
You should go to the next expo, set up a booth and offer your services. I'm like, yeah, I'd never been to an expo before. So I literally went to like a boat expo to like, like what's a boat? Like, what's an expo? What do you do with these things? And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I figured out like I got this little booth. I set up this little expo thing and named the company that like could do this thing. And I got like a whole bunch of relationships and built a business under that umbrella.
I love that. Just the whole idea. I've had a mentor that's like telling me, Tiff, stumble forward. Like, oh, it's going to work out. Like the next thing, the door will open for you. And that's just the way it's going to be. Now, how did that start to unfold? How long were you at the credit union under that umbrella?
Yeah. So then I started like getting credit unions and then put reps in there. So then I started not doing the day-to-day stuff and moving myself out. And then I have kids and I like grew up in the Midwest and I was beat into my brain that stay-at-home mom was the dream job. So I started hiring myself out of a job as I started having more kids so that I could be home with them, which it was super rewarding until I don't have a job anymore because I had so many kids I couldn't work. And then all my kids go to school and I'm sitting there thinking, now what do I do with myself? Like, what am I supposed to do for these 6 hours? I don't want to just be running lunches because someone forgot one or whatever else. And yeah, so that was kind of like the next big transition for me.
I love that. Yeah, I feel the same about like, gosh, my kids are in school because I ain't no homeschool Betty Crocker, Martha Stewart mom
Yeah,
either.
those Pinterest moms, like I have credit for you. You are not me, but I still love you and thank you. You exist.
Yeah, I'll support you, teacher. I will gift card you at every holiday, but I cannot keep my kiddos out.
Amen.
Uh, so you now had your business on autopilot. Now you've got this extra 6 hours a day free because you're not momming enough. What can you even get done in 6 hours a day without having to worry about left and right?
Yeah, nothing, right? So then I'm like, okay, I am just in the season of motherhood and I just have to grin and bear it until they all go to college and then I can get back to me. But other than that, I'm not like, there's just nothing you can do because I didn't know how not to go full throttle. Right? Like you have this, like, this is what work means. And I didn't know how to redefine what work meant. And so this is classic. I'm running, you know, because if I'm home, I should be doing things.
Yeah.
So I am running like a classroom party. I'm doing soccer classes, all that kind of stuff. So it's Thanksgiving and it's time for like the Thanksgiving Day party. And one of this other moms is running this classroom with me. And she comes in with a sweatshirt, a hair tie, and socks that are all like turkey themed and feathered. And she has an extra set for me. And so she's like, hey, look, I wanted us to match the same for this party. It's going to be so much fun, blah, 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 blah. I go into the bathroom to change into this outfit and I'm fighting back tears, wondering what decisions I've made in my life that I am now putting on a turkey sweater. Like this just is not okay. And I'm like, I have to have a solution. There has to be something different. And so luckily for me, I can say this because I'm standing here. A month later, December 18, 2018, I get into a horrific car crash, like crazy. I hit a semi truck. I go end over end. They have no clue how I survived. They've rebuilt the accident every different way. There's not a scenario where I live, let alone walk away, which I did both of. And I just have this new lease on life. Like it's the line in the sand of life before the accident and life after.
And this gives me so many chills from like head to toe about you are here living proof. There was no way that you should be alive. This is an incredible chunk of your story where, like you said, the before and the after, the shift in your mental game of it all, which inspired so much that I'm so excited to hear more
Yeah.
about. And I know you've
Yeah.
talked a lot about it on many shows because you're an amazing speaker. Tell us what that was like after that accident.
So this accident happens, and I am like, if I do not use this as an excuse to rewrite my story, I'm going to die. Because if you look back on your life, you can see little doors that opened, but I just wasn't paying attention to them. So I think the universe was like, okay, well, we're going to give her a car crash so that she wakes up. And if she doesn't wake up to this, like, I don't know what's going to wake her up. Right. And so I was like, I need to use this as my line in the sand of life before and life after. And how do I want my life to look if it's going to end? Because it ends. I don't know why we think it's not going to end and we have all this time to do all these things, but I subscribed to that thought. And then all of a sudden I realized if it ended, there was a lot of stuff I left in me that I didn't get to experience. And I don't want that to be my story. So 2019 became this year of the bucket list, really redefining success, redefining what it meant to be a mother, redefining who I was. And it was based off of if I was going to die, what are things I wanted to do before I died? So it was simple, like taste pasta in Italy, swim in the Great Barrier Reef, climb a mountain, like things that I wanted to do, right? Like see St. Pete's Cathedral. I don't know, like the list is long.
Yeah.
And so, and my financial planning background comes into play because you break out lives into decades for people. Because if they retire at 60, like some money they don't need for 30 years. So you're going to invest that money differently than you invest the money that they need next year. And so for me, I'm looking at my life in decades. I'm like, okay, what can I do that's easier when I'm younger than when I'm older? So like I'm heavy on museums in the last decade. Okay. I'm light on museums right now because I want to be outside and do activities that are harder. So on this list is climb a mountain. And I looked at 2020. I'm like, I'm turning 40 in 2020. I want to do something significant for my 40th birthday to launch that decade. And so when I'm combing through my list, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to climb a mountain because it's only going to get harder as I get older. And what a great way to launch this next decade. So I live in Park City. There's tons of mountain people because we have a ski resort and mountains. And I asked a couple friends, like, if you could climb one mountain in the whole world, what would you climb? They climb this mountain named Ama de Blanc. And I hadn't heard of it before, but it's in Nepal. It's on your way to Everest. It's probably one of the most photogenic mountains out there. Someone had told me it was like the Paramount Pictures logo. Not sure that's true. But I'm like, oh, if I go to a movie, I can say, like, I climbed that mountain. Sounds good. So I'm training for Ama de Blanc. But you remember, like, if we rewind back to 2020, like, the universe introduced this little thing called COVID. And so all of our lives got turned upside down and the plans we had were no longer. And I was homeschooling 7 children instead of like climbing mountains and doing things. And in my homeschooling journey, we had a day where one of my guys was struggling with his math homework. I'm like, listen, we do hard things. You've got this. He goes, if we do hard things, why are you climbing a mountain called I'm a Dumb Blonde instead of a real mountain like Mount Everest? And I'm like, I'm a dumb blonde. I'm a dumb blonde. Honey, the mountain I'm climbing is Ama de Blanc, not I'm a dumb blonde. Are you kidding me? Thank you. Like, finish your homework. We'll look at Everest. I know. Like, the world just is humorous always, I think. So here I am, like, looking at Everest with him. He goes to bed. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to climb Everest. I'm going to show him whatever our Everest is, we're capable of summiting. So I call up a coach, kind of hoping he's going to be like, no, you're not climbing Everest. And he's like, yeah, I can get you ready. You used to be an athlete. You'll be great. Buy this book about becoming an uphill athlete. I'm like, okay. So I buy the book. The book comes in the mail. I start reading it. And in the front of it is a foreword of a lady who got a Guinness World Record for doing something in the Alps. And I just remember thinking, I could have done that. Like, I can suffer and I could have done that. And I'd be the coolest mom in the whole world because the only thing I can get my children to read are Guinness World Record books,
Oh, I
right?
love those books. They're the
They,
best.
yeah, right. Who
Yes.
has the biggest beard? Who grew the biggest pumpkin? How many hot dogs did somebody eat in a minute? Like all like that's their favorite thing. And that's the only thing they'll read. And I'm like, I would be a cool mom. Homeschooling, not a cool mom. This isn't working. And my coach and I are talking. He's like, I'm taking this as a challenge. I'll think of something. I'm like, okay, fine. He calls me back a few weeks later, ecstatic. Jen, I have the perfect world record for you. I'm like, oh, I totally forgot about this. Yeah, what is it? He's like, you should be the first woman to climb the 7-second summits.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't even know what those are at this
Yeah.
point. Like, I'm like, the 7 what? And he's like, the second highest point on each continent. I'm like, well, why would I want to climb the second? Why would I want to climb the first? He's like, well, the first have been done by about 500 people. The second are harder. And
Mm.
it's only been done by one male. So you'd be the first woman to do it.
Ooh, chills. Yes.
Chills. And he goes, listen, 7 continents, 7 mountains, 7 children. It's a jackpot.
Yeah, yeah. 777. Win, win,
I'm
win.
like, 777, I'm in. I haven't slept in a tent before, but let's make it happen. Let's see what goes on. And that's how I stepped into that.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun. I love that you have, and I even liked it because by the way, I love your book so much. It has like the SSS on it, like for
Yeah.
the 7-second summits.
Yes.
That is so incredible. So here's the deal. Those things are not easy. As he said, some of them are harder, maybe they're less trekked. Being able to get over some of those struggles, what was that like? Because I mean, now you've decided to make this shift. I'm going to go conquer that.
Oh my God. I mean, the minute you say something like that, right, the universe is like, oh, really? Let's test you and see if you're really, really committed. And so, like, the first mountain I did was a wind tunnel. And I don't know, like, if anybody has been in a wind tunnel before, but it is a form of torture for sure. Because what happens is like this first mountain is called Ojos del Salado. It's in the Atacama Desert in Chile. It is a volcano. Volcanoes are not fun to climb. Mountains are fun to climb because mountains have mountain ranges and beautiful things to look at. A volcano is like a pimple in the desert. You're on the thing, right? Like you don't get to look at anything else. You're on the volcano, everything else around it's dead. So there's nothing. And it's just windy because we're in this desert. So there's nothing holding the heat in when the sun comes up. So the temperature changes are crazy. So when the sun comes up in the morning, it starts to heat things up, which causes things to move like an oven. And so for 12 hours a day, you hear these sounds and it is mind numbing. It's the worst thing ever. Like I still have nightmares about this place. It's
And that's
so
the
bad.
first
I'm
one you
like,
decided to go over?
that's the first one because it was one of the easier ones. And I had to pick like mountains have climbing seasons. So you have to pick whatever's open. And this is 2020. So like not every country's open, right? Like a lot of them are still closed. So that was dictating it. Well, then my next climb is in Kenya and it's called Mount Kenya. And Mount Kenya is a 22 pitch rock climb. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to have to learn how to rock climb.
Yeah.
So I hire a coach. We go to this wall. We start climbing. I'm 10 feet up and I'm freaking out. I'm shaking. I'm sweating. I'm white. I want to vomit. And I look at my coach. I'm like, what is going on? He's like, I think you're afraid of heights. I'm like, I can't be afraid of heights. That's not an option. He's like, well, we're going to have to get through it. And so I climbed down and I like would climb up and I'd go one handhold higher and then I'd climb all the way down. And then I'd climb up and I'd go one handhold higher and climb all the way down. And we found out that I was like afraid of heights between 10 and like 35 feet. And then after 35 feet, it looked so distant that it didn't bother me
Mm.
or whatever. And we just did exposure therapy and I got through it. And I just like, I mean, every mountain had some unique challenge that I had to find something in me that I didn't know exist or force into existence so I could do the thing.
That's incredible. Some people would break through this. Like, what are the things that you clung to keep you going?
My kids. Okay, so here's what you don't want to do if you want to achieve a goal. I'm climbing 7 mountains. I have 7 children. Almost the second I said it out loud that I was considering doing this thing, each one of them claimed a mountain. And so they're like, oh, you're going to climb my mountain, and then you're going to climb my mountain, and blah, 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 blah. Not knowing what any of that meant, right? But all of a sudden, I'm like letting my child down if I don't climb their mountain.
That's definitely
Accountability at a whole new level.
different, right? But I love
Yes.
that they picked up on that. Like, this is my mountain.
I know. I love it too. Those little guys. So nice.
Oh my goodness. Through all of this, you have been also building an incredible brand because you
Yeah.
are the brand in and of itself. Are you And in even this climb, did you decide to start sharing publicly about this, or were you keeping all this quiet?
So here's what happened. Like I was anti social media because I only like heard the negative things about it, right? So I was just 100% against it. And then when you could start doing this stuff and people find out, like everybody texts you 1,000 things. I'm like, I don't have a way to keep up with all these people. So I guess I'm going to start a social media account and I'm going to post it on there so that everybody can hear what's going on or what's happening or blah, 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 blah. So that's how it evolved, right?
Ah.
That desire. And then I got nerded out about it, right? And was like, you get a little addicted to it. But if you can keep yourself checked and always focus on the positive that it brings, there is good to social media, not just bad.
Oh, I love that. This is like a whole new level of like entrepreneurship. Was your business like still running in the background while you're doing
Yes.
all these climbs?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So thankfully, like it's funny because pain causes change for me. I wish I could just like change automatically, but it's something where, oh, I have kids at home. Now I need to hire myself out of a job. Or I have I said I was going to do this. So now I need to do that. Right. Like it's very interesting how I've been dragged forward into these different things and just learning how to figure it out and let it go and let it be what it is because it's messy.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't think we like the messy middle. I know I don't like the messy middle. I like things alphabetized, organized, and here certain. And
Yeah.
I picked like one of the most uncertain fields possible.
Right.
And it's messy in the in between, but that's the growth I needed to be a better human.
Oh, I love that. The other thing I noticed in your book, because I love, oh my gosh, you have an overwhelming amount of nuggets in here. Where
Thank you.
did you get all of these nuggets? Like this is almost like your start and complete way to get somebody through hard things. You've thought of A to Z to get
Yeah.
through hard things.
Yeah.
Where did all these nuggets come from?
So the nice thing is like every time you climb a mountain, there's kind of the same patterns that show up, right? Of the doubt or how do I do this? Or like it was just, I started noticing it. And like, even though I'm like, oh, I've already done this, it's still manifesting a little bit different, but showing up. And when I looked back on building a business, I'm like, oh, these are the same things that showed up building a business. Oh, these are the same concerns that I had with being a mom for the first time. And so I started we like wrote down all these different stories and we started chunking them into sections so that when the reader goes to a mountain, they can learn a lesson. And when they're climbing their own metaphorical mountains, in most cases, not physical, they can be like, oh, this is expected. So when it shows up, it doesn't derail them. It allows them to be like, actually, I knew this was coming. Here's how I navigate it.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we got mountain one, we got mountain two. What does it look like? Did you climb all seven mountains?
I did. Yeah. Well, all kinds of crazy happened.
Yes.
Okay. So I go to climb Everest, even though it's not a second summit, because I need to use Everest to train for K2, right? Because K2 is much more challenging than Everest, and you don't want K2 to be your first 8,000-meter peak. I do not have success on K2. And up to this point, I'd had success. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Like, go to a mountain, climb it, come home, and everything's great. And that did not happen on K2. And so I had that first setback. And the thing about mountains is if you fail one, you don't get to climb it till the next year,
Yeah.
right? So then that delays everything and things like that. So that was a big deal. And then I go to climb these mountains. I think I'm done on June 1st of 2023. I'm like on this last mountain. I feel all the feels. I do all the things. I come home. I celebrate. I send in all the stats to Guinness World Records. And then Guinness World Records gives me a call. They're like, well, there's a little dispute on what's a continent. So we're actually going to have you climb two more mountains. I'm like, what do you mean there's a dispute on what's a continent? I just rode in a car that doesn't have a driver. Like, how can we be? I'm sorry, we're past this part, aren't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, no, actually, Indonesia, by everybody that I've ever met, is part of Asia. But some people somewhere in the world that I have not met, and believe you me, when I meet one of them, we're going to have a discussion, think of Indonesia as part of Australia and Oceania.
No.
No, exactly. But anyway, so Guinness is like, we want you to climb this mountain in Indonesia because if it's part of Australia, it's the second highest point. And then because, no one really likes to think of Russia as part of Europe. So we're going to have you climb the second highest point in Europe in case people want to exclude Russia. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm climbing not just the second highest point continentally, but like geopolitically. Like, what? Okay, whatever. So I just did those and I finished June or October 9 of 2024.
You know what I'm going to do? Since you got your certificate of completion, you get the honorary other version of it too. This is
Exactly.
crazy.
Exactly. It's bananas.
Man. Okay, so you've done so much incredible stuff. At what point did this start to unfold where it decided to go into coaching? Like, how
Yeah.
did you translate this to people?
Isn't it funny? Because I got a call after climbed Everest, and a company asked me if I would come in and give a speech. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's try that. Oh, okay. So I write this speech and I freaking loved it. Like, loved it. I loved the energy exchange. I loved the aha moments. I loved when people emailed me afterwards and said what their Everest goal was. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, people get paid for this? This is amazing. This is so awesome. Well, then, like when you climb mountains, you have to build a team at every mountain. Like I didn't climb with the same people on all the mountains. And typically people who are climbing mountains are pretty alpha personality. So it's like learning how to build that team, work together to get to the top of the mountain. And so I had this company call and said, hey, we're having some struggles with our team. Would you mind coming in and like just observing and talking and sharing? And so then I went in and I'm like, oh, I see what's going on. Here's some fixes we can make and blah, 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 blah. They had like their best quarter ever. And that felt so good. And then I had this, like, it's always like like whatever feels good, I lean into.
Yeah.
Well, I had this person that, like went through a divorce and all of a sudden had to reinvent, and she's like, I don't even know where to begin. And so like we just sat down and worked through some things and just talked through different ideas and like workshopped some things, and she got into a new career and took off and like has found like 2.0 is so much better than 1. I'm like, if I can like help in these ways, like sign me up, I'm here for it all day long.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that sounds like a perfect fit for all of the experiences that you've had. And now these associations with like, wait a minute, this is duplicated to this and this and this and
Yeah,
systems
right?
and
Right. You're like, okay, here's the big picture when you're talking to a big, broad audience. Here's how you dial it in to talk to like a group. And here's how you dial it into an individual so you can go through the process to get the pattern established in her own life.
oh my gosh, I love that so much. At what point were you like, this has to go in a book?
Yeah. So the book came really early, actually, because I have a neighbor that is into publishing. So I'm out like doing my normal walk with my weighted vest, getting training for the mountain. And he's doing a lap. So we do a lap together. And he asked about my last experience. He's like, you need to write a book. I'm like, okay, which I thought would be like ordering dinner. I don't know why I thought a book would not be a huge undertaking. It is a ginormous undertaking. And so the nice thing is like I was only a couple mountains in. And when you're at base camp and things, like there's nothing to do.
Yeah,
So
there's
then I
no
had all
internet,
this
right?
time to like write, right? Like I could write and like put things down and voice memo things. And it just gave me that space to be creative. And nature's so giving in that space too. And so when I'd come home from an adventure, I hired an editor to help me package things and put things together and start like piecing things out. I mean, we started with 800 and some pages and ended with 200.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say this book is so action packed, like nugget after truth bomb, after life changing sentence. It's like, oh my gosh, if you don't read through this and have a moment with yourself,
Right?
oh my gosh. There's so much stuff that I feel like we want to like keep pressing in on, but you have so much content out there. I love whoever's doing all of your content
Thank
on
you.
like all the social medias that you have because I follow them all because I want to be inspired all the time. As women, we got to stick together, right? And
Yes.
in that, I know you've some incredible stuff that you've done. Would you want to share anything like what's next on the horizon?
Yeah, so right now I have Denali coming up. So Denali is a climb in May. It is the highest point in North America. When we like started doing all this stuff for filing for the record, I realized I was only a couple mountains short to having another record. I'm like, well, if I'm this close, like I should do that too. So Denali's part of a second world record. I'm really excited about it. It's a very challenging mountain. And so I have that coming up. I also have been asked to like take a group to Ecuador and climb with some women there. And that's a very entry level experience, but still all the feels.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. This will be
Yeah.
perfect timing to let everybody know all your great stuff. Now,
Yeah.
how do you get to document during these trips? Like, there's no internet. You just take a
Right.
video.
Right. So some of the climbs I've been able to have somebody come with me and photo or video like behind the scenes. And then when we get back, we kind of parcel it together. The one in Denali coming up, it's just there's not a lot of people that are skilled enough to be in that environment. Cameras don't like cold, so keeping them charged is a challenge and things like that. So I'm going to do that one the best I can myself, vlog it. And then when we come back, we'll release the series afterwards.
Man, that's incredible. This has been so fun, but here's the deal. You are changing people's lives, not just with the social media posts that you have, the comments, everything that you're putting out. If somebody is listening to this right now and they're thinking, I need to know you, I need to follow you, I want to know more, what is your favorite way for people to like come into your world?
I think jendrummond.com, the website, because then you can put in your information and get in the system. But another thing, I have a gift for your audience.
Thank you.
So, yes. So if they want to text the word Everest to the number 33777, okay, 33777, you're going to get a video of the Milky Way galaxy going over Everest Base Camp. And I keep this on my phone in my favorites because life gets overwhelming at times, right? And like just frustrating and hard. And I'll look at that video and remind myself, okay, I'm this little human on this planet with this amazing galaxy. Like, it's okay. I
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
And it just brings me back into my power versus giving my power away. So I wanted to give that to everybody. And if you join that, you'll actually get on our email list and get updates there too.
Oh, that's perfect. I love it so much. You're a gem. I'm so excited that you came into my life and that I get to be one more person that gets to share your story. I'm so appreciative of your time. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me today. Everybody, just so you know, all the show notes below, come follow, go to jendrummond.com, and then you get to hang out and you get to listen in. And don't forget, if you don't know what that number is, right below, so that way you can shoot a text over to get that amazing freebie that she has for you. That's all the time that we have right now. Is there any like lasting, lingering one-liner or nugget that you want to leave with everybody?
In all of these pursuits, I have learned that being kind to yourself makes you stronger. So, what can you do to be kind to yourself so you can get up your mountain?
Beautiful. You said it best. I love it so much. Thank you so much for today. And I look forward to seeing everybody on the next episode. And check us out, follow us on YouTube, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.